XOXO, got the girl. Pose.
Audra at Home is filmed in front of a live Pitbull audience.
Good morrow and merry meet. My name is Audra and you are in for a treat. All right, today we're gonna be doing another palette chat. Welcome to a palette chat. If you don't know what they are, you are not alone, sweet pea, neither do I. Basically, I am tired of trying to categorize like all of my videos into like, it's this or it's that or it's this. So I'd rather just do palette chats, and whatever it is that I end up talking about is where to be categorized in the playlist. So that's what we're gonna do. Essentially, my palette chats are where I use palettes new and old. Currently a lot of new because I haven't had an opportunity since I started my job, but new and old, and chat about whatever. So there we go. That's I don't even need to throw that in there. Anywho's it's National Coming Out Day, so it's raining women. Okay. Anywho's today we're going to be using, today I'm going to be using, today's palette is going to be the Pizza Cat palette by Sugar Drizzle. And yeah, I'm going to show it to y'all right quick, and then we'll get to work on whatever it is that I feel like talking about. Talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, I'm done now. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. All right, we're coming in just a smidgen closer and into my red, watery, tired eyes. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. Oh, Audra, why are you like this? Because you don't get any rest and you've worked 9 days straight and today's your first day off, that's why. Anywho's I tried to watch Squid Game, which I'm still trying to watch it. I'm not like not watching it. Here's the problem. Ooh, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of space burger. I'm just gonna finger fuck this, okay? Anywho's I tried to watch Squid Game and it was so stressful, and like I couldn't take a nap. It was so stressful. Like it was honestly really beginning to stress me out because I was like wondering what's gonna happen, and the way that people just suddenly anyway, I don't want to give it away, but it was a little stressful pour moi. So I started thinking about the fact that I went to go get my hair did today, and listen y'all, I know that I am queen of the darkness, howsomever. I do have me a soft spot for Dave Matthews.
Take these chances.
Now, y'all, cause I drive my mom's car around places because my car needs to get registered. It's legal in every other way, but I just have not been able to get over there to do it. And then of course I have the day off today, and I should, be doing that. And instead of doing that, I was just I'm really tired and I don't really want to people. I don't have my headphones on. We're gonna see how this goes. My voice has dropped a few octaves from work, so I'm hoping that will be enough to not irritate the bing bang in my head. Moving forward, let's get a little bit closer. What's wrong with that, right? Nothing? You see what I mean? Is it cuter? Is it less cute? I like this warmer light, but I feel like y'all see better when I use the bright light, like that one. Oh God, but that hurts my eyes so bad. Sorry. Y'all gonna have to deal with warm. So, y'all, okay, so here's what happened. Oh, that's perfect. That is a perfect, I have such good plans sometimes. I'm doing, surprise, a purple look. Anyway, and I have stations favorited, and one of my favorite stations in there, aside from Ozzy's Boneyard and shit like that, cause it's Sirius XM or whatever they're calling themselves these days. And one of my stations is Dave Matthews Band, right? Now, y'all, the chokehold that Dave Matthews Band had on us in my day, back in my day, the chokehold that Dave Matthews Band had was fairly intense. Y'all don't even know. Listen, in the 90s and very, 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 and when I say early aughts, I mean 2000 2001. I'm not talking about 2010, okay? I just need y'all to know I'm 41. So anyways,
Why the word you say?
this was back in the days where when you were like kind of seeing someone or whatever, like music let you know what was gonna happen. Cause they would be like, hey, do you wanna listen to some music? And you would be like, sure. And depending on what they played, depend on like whether or not like romantic intentions were happening or friend things were happening. Yes, we used music as an indicator, okay? And one of those bands that let you know that you were gonna be like, ha ha, was Dave Matthews Band, okay? Dave Matthews Band was the panty dropper band of the time.
You got your ball, you got your chain.
And it just like, it was a thing, you know, when Dave Matthews music, you come crash into me, baby. And my Dave Matthews is like fucking on a point. So like, I'll do several of them for you today. And I come enter, like y'all, don't mess with me. And so like, I just, of course, because I am a neurodivergent person, and I was like looking at it, and they had like, you know, live Dave Matthews Band, like, you know, live recordings. And I was sitting there like, live, and I looked at the date and I was like, that was August of 2021. Let me begin my research, which I did. I need y'all to understand that I don't know how old Dave Matthews was in the 90s and early aughts, and I don't know how old he is now. All I'm gonna say about that entire situation is that he remains 42 forever. He was 42 in the 90s, and he's a 42 in the 20s. Like, it's fucking weird, y'all. I mean it. Like, it's one of the weirdest things, because you like kind of look over and you're like, how, like, I looked at pictures, like old pictures of Dave Matthews, and then like current ones, and I was like, why, Mr. Matthews, looks like you've been playing with the devil, baby. I know, I have to. Call me. Just kidding, don't. You have a whole family. That would get very awkward, and I'm not that person. Thank you. Anywho's it's, because he had like, I don't know what, like it was the voice, but even like looking at it now, it's just very soothing. And the thing about Dave Matthews Band, like the music, before anybody like starts covering me, like, Audra, I thought you were cool. I am cool, thank you. I can go from Lamb of God to Dave Matthews Band. And that's just how you are a gothic goddess. You have to have varied interests, otherwise you can't trap as many souls as you'd like to. Thank you. Dave Matthews was like the panty dropping music of the age, because like, in all seriousness, when Dave Matthews came on, it like did something to your spirit. Like you were just minding your business, right? And then it was like doodle 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 doodle. That's Satellite, by the way. That is what it sounds like in real life. Go listen to it. It's spot on. And then he'd be like, satellite in my eyes. It was just like a thing. And you like, it was like, so half the time we didn't even know what the hell like he was talking about until you get older. Like you have to, some of the lyrics you did have to kind of like get older for. I know that sounds stupid, but like, you know, you did have to get older. Like I didn't realize how dirty Dave Matthews was when I like, cause I was just singing it and I was just like jamming, you know,
He wakes up in the morning.
So anywho's it's that that was a moment, okay? You just listen. First of all, I also probably should have told y'all like I don't have literally any masking ability at this point, so you're gonna get what you're gonna get. Like I can't do it. My job doesn't require it, and I'm always so tired now. It's not like anybody's job is like, oh, you must mask if you're autistic, but still, it's been a like freeing thing because I don't have to do it at all. So anyways, so now I don't have any good abilities, and it's getting worse or better. So like when you listen to like a lot of his songs, like they're all like kind of dirty. Playing under the table and dreaming. Like, you know what I mean? Take these chances. Place him in a box until a quiet time lights down you up and die. And I feel like they were targeted. Listen, this is gonna be all over the place. But I feel like everyone's just like, oh, they're like the modern day Grateful Dead, which I wouldn't know because I'm not a Deadhead. I have no idea what that means. So I don't want any Deadheads showing up in my comments being like, no fucking way. Like, I don't know. I don't care. I don't even listen to the Grateful Dead. I don't even care. I don't even care. Let it go. But that was what they were touted as. And do y'all remember, like, for those of y'all who are around for Dave Matthews, do you remember how, like, his songs were, like, they would be, like, 12 minutes long, right? A song would be 12 minutes long, but, like, only 4 minutes were singing. Like, the rest of it was just, like, jamming and, like, violins and cellos and, like, horned instruments. And you would just, like, wait for a song. Like, that was, like, that was a movement. Because, like, even Satellite was just like, it was like a whole movement. And you were just kind of like, so, and everybody always started it at the wrong time. Like, I feel like when you're together, you'd be like, and then you'd just be like, never mind. I was just like excited. Though I was gonna say Saturday, we need to do this thing. It was just because we started early. Which is like impossible not to do because like so many of his songs were jams. Anywho's it, I remember that I had learned like this random Dave Matthews fact. Like he got thrush. And for those of y'all gonna have to look thrush up because I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not having the censors come get me. But when I got older and knew what thrush was, and it was at that moment that I realized that Mr. Matthews was a regular diner of the downstairs cafe. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. You go, Dave. And it's like, I just have to say that it was super powerful that like at that time, right? Like in the 90s, we had like, at the same time as like, there was Tool, there was 9 Inch Nails, there was Dave Matthews. Like, it's wild. Like, if you really think about it, like, the 90s was seriously one of the most eclectic, like, decade, like, genres of music, like, ever. Because you had, like, this whole, like, weird to-do that was going on. It was so interesting. Yes, I use the viewfinder as a mirror, so just let it go. If it bothers you, don't look while I'm applying my makeup. Just look away. Just listen to me talk, but look away. Thank you. It was just such a wild time. Like, you had, like, Alanis Morissette at the same time that you had Hole. You know what I mean? It was just such a weird, like, it will never be duplicated, I feel like. And not in, like, the 90s were so great way, but more in, like, it felt like there was this time where everybody just like grabbed a hold of whatever musical style they wanted. And then like as a listener of music, such a good time for us because we could quite literally listen to everything. And I feel like that's kind of why I still am like that now, where it's like, I don't really feel like I have to have a genre of music that makes me cool or interesting. Because like you could just listen to kind of everything. You could go from Real Big Fish and Cherry Poppin' Daddies to Nirvana to Tool to 9 Inch Nails to Orgy. Like it was like a whole thing. Anywho, back to Dave. Let me do my eyebrows. We'll come back. No, I gotta do my eyebrows in a minute. I like to put on my bronzer. I like to put on my bronzer before I do my bronzer because like, you know, you get it around and I don't want to, you know, I have barely, look at my 14 hairs, y'all. Look at them, you see them? I'm getting so much hair right here. I ain't shaving it. I hope it makes you uncomfortable. Moving on. So then, you know, because I looked, Dave Matthews, when I was talking about how he looks, like, I mean this, okay. He was zaddy before we were saying zaddy. Like he was just always zaddy. Dave Matthews with his like widow's peak hair. He always looked like he was doing something naughty. Do you know what I mean? Like he had this look on his face. It was like, cut. Like he was always kind of like, you know what I mean? In the camera, like you look at pictures, he just always looks like he's up to some shit. And I like that about Dave, you know? You know, he was kind of like
Lifetimes passed you by.
he was like weirdly attractive. So listen, I feel your judgment. Leave me alone. He was weirdly attractive. He's a weirdly attractive guy. He was always smirking, and there was something about the naughty smirk that just like did something to like my inner spirit. I know, man. And it just like, and now like, cause like I couldn't quite identify it when I was younger, cause I was, I was younger. I was just like, I don't know what's going on there, but I feel something in my pants, and so. But it's the smirk. It's this. He has this like funny little smirk, and he like kind of lifts his brow a very particular way. You know what I mean? He's just kind of like a hot boy. Like, it was weird. I know. I said hot boy. Don't just look away. And he just had this like thing about him that I thought was like kind of sexy. Like, he was always over there, like murmuring and whispering. Anywho's it's. Let me get to the thing that really like jacked up my brain, because I was like I said, I found out that Dave Matthews still a thing. And for you neurotypical people, before you start coming for me being like, of course, it's still a thing. The band is still a thing. Blah, blah, blah. And they don't just disappear because you stop listening to them. Actually, sometimes for me they do. There are whole actors and actresses that disappear, and I think that they are not even alive, because when I stop doing something, it's gone. Like, that's literally how my mind does things sometimes. I don't love it for me. You know what I mean? I don't love it for me. I wish it wasn't like that. But here we are, and this is the world that I constantly live in, where it's like they'll show an actor or an actress, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought they were dead. Literally every time. If you're like that too, please comment, because it sometimes like hurts my feelings. Like, it makes me feel like I'm just not paying attention to the world. And, sometimes I'm not. That's true. But, like, I went back and I was, like, going into my whole, like, I can't believe it, Dave Matthews still fucking performs live, obviously. But, like, again, we've already discussed that part of it. And so then I, like, when you Google something and then it has all the, like, little, like, additional questions? And so one of the things was, like, what is Dave Matthews worth? I'm going to tell you this with one gorgeously drawn eyebrow on. $300 million. $300 million, Dave Matthews. Y'all. And you come crash into me here. Listen, y'all, never in a million years. I feel like that's a show I would want to see, because I just feel like that's a good time. Oh, even though I'm not like a Mary Jane Hoyd person, you know what I mean? It's not good for my equilibrium. But even though I'm not that kind of person, I just feel like it would be a good time. They play music, and I would just like listen to like wow, wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. I make the best mouth music, and don't take that weird. Thank you. Dave Matthews was just like that band that like everybody knew. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knew Dave Matthews, whether you love them or hate him. And even the people who said that they hated him, they loved him. They love fucking Dave Matthews. It's so chill. It's so chill. Don't be lying in our faces. Such a chill time. In fact, I feel like Dave Matthews saved me from an acid trip. I'll be right back to explain how. Okay, so if you're still with me and you're like, Audra, how in the hell did Dave Matthews save you from an acid trip? So here's the thing. So I did an acid trip a long time ago, obviously. I was 20, 21. I was ill-advised on my last day of college, decided to indulge and engage in a trip with some friends. And I didn't know about the how this worked, and I probably should have asked more questions before I took that sugar cube. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? What happens, happens. And so anyway, I'm still tripping balls the next day, and I'm just like, okay, well, this has to end eventually, right? Was what I was thinking. The answer was no, it actually does not have to end eventually. It can just keep going and going. Anywho's, it's at the time I had a friend, her name was Amelia. And I am still tripping balls. And we go over to, you know, her grandma's house. And her grandma seemed to know what was up, which thankfully her grandma didn't say anything, but she knew that there was something. She was just like, that girl ain't right. And I was like, show you right. But after grandma's house, we had to go over to Amelia's parents' house because I was staying with Amelia until I could fly out, like back home to Texas at the time. And so, that being said, what happened? We're at our parents' house and I am having just like a hard time because I want to go to bed. Everybody's asleep and it's not like I'm my home. There we go. That's the extra zazz I needed. And since I wasn't like obviously at my home and her parents don't really at this point know that I'm like watching the wallpaper literally move. And I'm just like, I have got to go to sleep. And so I tried to listen to like 311, but that was too for me. And then, you know what? I put on Dave Matthews Band. And it was just like super chill. It was just like a very chill time. I felt so relaxed and calm, and like Dave was just like lulling me with his like sweet voice. He was just like, you know, doing his thing. I don't know how to describe it, but it was just like this moment where I felt very like safe and comforted and like everything was gonna be okay. And I didn't know when acid ends. You know what I mean? Nobody tells you that when they tell you to come do a mind-altering drug. They don't also tell you like it's end time. I would have liked to have known that. That would have been very helpful, you know, to me. Trying to fall asleep when it felt like the world wouldn't stop moving. So anywho's, it's, yeah, Dave Matthews Band saved me there. Like, Dave Matthews was that band that, like, I love how many people just, like, pretend, like used to pretend that they didn't like him, but, like, listen, when Ants Marching starts, okay? When that starts, when everybody hears the first, burp, you know you get hype. You know you get excited. You're like, oh, shit. You know you get kind of excited. Like, don't pretend it's just me. Don't be in these streets trying to act like, oh, it's just Audra being weird. That might be true, but also another thing that is true is that I am correct in this whole thing. Dave Matthews, when that shit pops off and like it starts, listen, even me doing it like that, you're kind of like, dear, you're getting a little excited. And because I used to have 2 Dave Matthews albums. I had the first one and then I had the second one. I don't know what they're called. I feel like one of them was called Under the Table and Dreaming. And I feel like that was the first one with Ants Marching. I will also say that like, if it weren't for like Dave Matthews, like we wouldn't have ushered in, like the Jack Johnsons of the world would not have been able to come in. Now for those of you who don't know, like Jack Johnson was like a surfer, not like a surfer, he was a surfer. The man smirks. He smirks. And it's like kind of a cute thing that he be doing. And I really feel like there's somebody who's gonna be like, who the fuck is Jack Johnson? You know what I mean? Like, Audra, what do you mean Dave Matthews ushered in? I feel like Dave Matthews ushered in that like college rock thing. Like, I know that it existed prior, but I really feel like Dave Matthews truly ushered in this feeling of like the college, like, jam band and then like the guitar guy at the party. Do you know what I mean? There was always, and I remember when I went to SC, like there was guitar guy at the party. And I know, what? Audra, what do you mean guitar guy? There was a guy at the party who played guitar. None of us knew how he got there. He would often just appear at the party out of nowhere. He would have like soft wavy hair, usually like puppy dog eyes. He was almost guaranteed to be wearing mandals, and it really kind of was weird in that like if you muttered or like even tried to hum like a bit of Radiohead, he would appear as well. I think that still happens now, I'm not sure, but like if you were just like, 'cause I'm a, and then he would just be there, Doon, doon, da, doon, doon. So the thing about Guitar Guy at the Party is like how he just mysteriously appeared and then like disappeared after you had sex with him. I wouldn't know, I didn't have sex with him, but I heard. And so after all that, like he would mysteriously appear and he would like, he knew every Oasis song. Like all of them. Like you're like, oh, you know what I really like Bio? Because you wanted him to leave. Because this is the thing about Guitar Guy at the Party. After you slept with him and he mysteriously disappeared, you realize he was not deep or interesting, and he was also a very bad lay. Again, I wouldn't know because I didn't sleep with him, but I heard. So then he becomes like an annoyance when he shows up at a party. So you would try to like name songs that maybe Guitar Guy at the Party wouldn't know, and wouldn't you know it, he did. You're like, oh, what about She's Electric? And he would be like, diddle diddle, and you're like, you know what, dude, I hate you, please leave. You know what I mean? Like he showed up to, and the thing was it wasn't just like frat parties. He didn't show up as much at frat parties. He was a house party guy, strictly house party, all right? And he would show up to the house party, no beer, no alcohol. He would bring nothing but himself, his mandals, his flannel top with the like, with the little fuzzy poofy things, the little, you know what I'm talking about? The little, it would be on the strings and it'd be a fuzzy poof. And he had those. He would bring his big soulful eyes and his floppy, you know, hair. He would bring that. And then we were all supposed to swoon. The thing was, you just kind of wanted him to leave because he was like freeloading. You know what I mean? Like he was freeloading on your party. I know. Like you're like, Audra, I thought you were like anti-capitalist. Not when it comes to my beer babes. Like when we're all, we've all brought beer and like I brought enough for me to get drunk and they brought enough for them to get drunk. And then here comes Guitar Guy at the party just freeloading. And that's who he really was. He was a freeloader. We just didn't recognize it at the time. He just showed up at parties, you know, playing Wonderwall and Dave Matthews Band and Creep by Radiohead. And he was always by the firelight. Like the firelight would be like flickering off his face as he looked at you earnestly. But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. You know what I mean? Like looking at you deep into your soul, like trying to like make the, and like somebody always fell for it. It's okay. It wasn't me, but you know, I heard. So the thing was, I said all of that to say, Dave Matthews made your panties drop. And I'm glad that he's still doing well. Like, I'm like, this is a random circle of me putting this look on. We're going to look at it in a minute closer. Just to say that like I rambled about Dave Matthews for however long I rambled about him. And then I told you about Guitar Guy at the Party, whom I wouldn't know, but I heard. And yeah, so let's put a lip on, and I'm gonna bring you in closer, and we're gonna look at this thing. All right. All right, so here is the completed look. I've used the palette. I will have thoughts on it in a palette roundup, I guess, but this is a good time. I mean, it's the same. Like, it's good. I don't even know if I made words make sense, but like, I like it. So let's look at it awkwardly, and then let's get out of here, because I have another video to film.
Satellite lights down you up at night. Am I coming to?
All right, so here's the look completed. I will at some point talk about this palette and other palettes that I have used in palette chats. I hope you enjoyed this weird, rambly, Dave Matthews-centric palette chat, and we'll see what we talk about next time. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please do me a favor, give this video a big thumbs up, so then that way the algorithm goddess can do what she does best, which is push me further down into the algorithm so that I can continue to do whatever the fuck I want to. And as usual, huge shout out to my patrons and spooky bays, yeah. Without y'all, I truly would not be able to keep the bats in the belfry and the spiders firmly ensconced in their webs. And also, I'm not sure where this video will go up, but I have been enjoying our Hell House marathon for the spooky season, so like, I'm looking forward to keeping that up. Oh my gosh, is it Wednesday? It is Wednesday, which means I gotta do the link. Any whoozits to all of you who watch, like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you as well. And as you know, it costs $0 to be kind. It's so good for your soul. I don't look like I'm gonna snatch it today because of the colorful rainbows and all of that good shit, but I will do it. Thank you. I don't mind. I don't mind. I need someone to clean up this mess in my house right now. And my souls? they're who I volunteer as tribute. Anywho, until next time, XOXO. Got the girl. They all do it the same. The guitar guy at the party was legend. I can't open this, so therefore we're just gonna use the blush that I can open. So they all do it the same way now. He looks the same. He's the original daddy. He wakes up in the morning. Bo! Like Dave Matthews. Oh, the space between your loving eyes. Yes. Does his teeth bite to read and he's rolling. Never changes a thing.